It is no longer news that in Africa, particularly West Africa, and to streamline it down, my dear beloved country Nigeria and the motherland Ghana have long over the years been going through series and countless of struggles and challenges in terms of their mineral resources. And that is to say, if you've actually been an OG right here on this platform, you can backtrack it to 3 weeks ago or a few weeks ago when I did brought to our knowledge and information that the country Nigeria has long undergone or is undergoing a setback barrier in terms of their crude oil manufacturing and production, which has actually affected a whole lot in the country's growth, infrastructure, and GDP. At least we can say in almost all facets of the survivor existence and struggles of citizens of this country, Nigeria. And I, Civic Inspirations, I am a living witness and partaker of this struggle and challenges in different angles that I cannot mention only but a few, right? And also on the other hand, in West Africa, we have countries as well that has continuously struggled to own, manufacture, mine, cultivate their own mineral resources as we speak in this 21st century, and the country Ghana is not also left out. And that is why today, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the twist and the great news today that countries in West Africa, particularly my dear country Nigeria and Ghana, is changing the game and taking the lead in their own ownership of their mineral resources. And that is why I felt like coming back again to update us on what it is currently for Nigeria, their crude oil mineral resources, and their profound international standard refinery owned by one of their very most preeminent, most wealthiest in the person of Aliko Dangote. How he faced his struggles, his challenges after putting up or setting up that magnificent refinery that political issues, cultural issues, sentimental and bias factors almost ruined and ridiculed for him. But the great news today is Aliko Dangote Refinery is set for refining and producing their own oil and has already kick-started as we speak. So with that being said, let's take a look at that briefly and we'll come back again and see for ourselves what the motherland Ghana has going on for their own mineral resources in this 21st century, how they are owning it and taking charge of it in a nutshell. That is to say, in terms of mineral resources such as the gold, which is one major resources that the country Ghana is actually standing out in the map and in the globe in today's day and time. And also when it comes to their crude oil, when it comes to their manganese, name it, several mineral resources that the country Ghana is already embarking and taking stance and control over. So quickly, let's look at what it is for Nigeria.
Well, the Nigerian Bar Association wants the federal government to ensure compliance by NNPC Limited in the presidential directive to supply crude oil to Dangote Refinery. NBA President Mr. Yakub Makayo, who led the executive members of the association on a visit to the refinery, spoke in Lagos. Efionga was there.
President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, welcomed NBA President Mr. Yakubu Mikau and his members to the $20 billion refinery complex in Lagos. The visitors were taken first to the fertilizer plant inside the refinery, reputed to be the largest in Africa. Next, NBA members moved to the refinery, branching at the laboratory where mercury, sulfur, water, aromatics, and gases are separated. The group came into the control room of the refinery where diligent monitoring activities take place.
We are primarily concerned about how that we can use the privilege of our expertise as lawyers and the privilege of the calling that we have as lawyers to provide direction to the people of the country and also to advance the cause of the nation. And because we have seen that this project is meant to serve the people, to call government's attention to this very audacious project, very illustrious project, something that is laudable.
The refinery is such a project that is going to take Nigeria out of the endemic perennial situation of importation of fuel, which comes with its own problems. I believe that when this refinery comes to full force, all this will be a thing of the past. And moreover, from what we have seen and heard, it has capacity to also export some of the products, and that will bring foreign exchange earning into the country.
Managers at the refinery revealed a major challenge.
We are still hearing that the government is trying to allocate to us crude, and we are still importing most of our requirements because we are not able to get adequate crude locally. We are importing the crude, and since many of their interests are not keen on buying our products, we are exporting our products. So we are importing the crude and exporting the product. I hope things will change very soon.
The Dangote Petroleum Refinery is believed to have the capacity to refine 650,000 barrels of crude per day.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, having heard from the news press on Channels Television, let's see what they actually went in details, in depth, to show the world that they have going on already as embarking on refining their own crude in this said refinery of Aliko Dangote, all the way in the city Lagos and in the country Nigeria. Let's go in depth, see what this refinery is all about, see what the staff and every department in this refinery is actually up to, and from there we can ascertain if definitely it's going to stand the test of time, it's going to be worth it or befitting, because currently in details we will know the measures that have been put in place. The major company, which is the NNPC, that is only designated as the only partnering company to regulate this manufacturing and refining of crude currently in Nigeria. And at the end of the day, look at it critically, analytically, if it's definitely going to aid in cropping down the hike in price of dollars, inflation in food prices, name it, and what have you. Let's see that and we'll be right back.
Up from the top and it is cropped. Then it is reclaimed and taken back because this you can store about 10 days of production. So as per the requirement, it is reclaimed and taken back to the battery.
This purely natural gas, 8% and then 2% nitrogen, which is also generated from the same gas. Yes.
This is the first time I will see urea like this. I've always seen
it. Yeah.
Take them to the farms. Yes. So,
we reform our natural gas. We have a series of processes which we do for our gas purification to get our hydrogen and nitrogen, which is the same gas we use for the production of ammonia. So here in the plant, the natural gas coming from the battery unit, we try to purify them, passing them through the which we use to run our turbine. So we have 3 compressors that are the turbines in ammonia plant. We have the process here compressor. This process here we use it to for secondary reforming. Secondary reformer. Because the nitrogen we use for the production of ammonia, we get it from the atmospheric air. So this we compress the air to around 4 kg pressure. Then we send it to the secondary reformer. So from there we produce our hydrogen and the nitrogen, which is our sender. Then these gases we send them to the same gas compressor for the compression into ammonia, which is what we needed for production of urea fertilizer. So this ammonia and CO2 we channel them to urea plant over there, where they send them to the reactor to produce ammonium carbonate in order to produce urea and water. So we remove the water from the system, then the granule, these are the urea granule, we send it down into bagging section. So that's what we do here.
Thank you for what you're doing. We were actually going to identify with the work that this gentleman that God has blessed this country with is doing. And all of you are instrumental in the success that we see out there, even though it's not recognized, it's not acknowledged. In fact, in many occasions, we show contempt for what you are doing, which is regrettable. But you should know that there are some of us out there who appreciate what you are doing, who know that this is the right way to go. And by the special grace of God, very sooner than later, we will begin to see a change of attitude, a change of approach. And you will know that you've not been wasting your time. Actually, this is the most honorable thing anybody can do for this country. Most honorable thing. Thank you so much. So thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
2,850 metric tons per day. We can optimize it up to 4,000 metric tons per day. So both train 1 and train 2. So that's about 8,000 metric tons per day when you optimize the capacity. So here we have the synthesis section. It's categorized into synthesis section and granulation section. The synthesis section, the major raw material, the feed we got from the ammonia plants, which is the CO2 and ammonia itself. The ammonia come in liquid form, while the CO2 come in compressed form. So we optimize by compressing it from 0.25 kg to about 160 kg by maintaining the process plant parameter. So from this is the high pressure synthesis section. The reactor is the major drive. That's the heart of any chemical process in the area. So that's where the urea production takes place. From the reactor, you have about 33% of urea which is being processed. Like I said, the synthesis section, we use a high modern technology, which is the technographic technology, which is of high standard. While the granulation, we use a technical technology, which is a fluidized bed technology. It's also a latest technology. From here, you can see from the safety screen, is a safety screen material coming from the granulator. So this safety screen, the lumps are being removed with those recycled tank. What we do in urea, we ensure that there is no flaring of any gases. All the recovery, the dissolved lumps that we're getting, it goes to the recycle tank. We also recycle it back to the system. So we ensure that safety is of high priority. The urea we produce of high quality with about battery content of 0.8 to 0.9 with nitrogen content of about 46%, which is of high international quality. So our major ideology here is to produce urea of high quality that farmers will appreciate and to improve the crop yield. From here, this is a sample of the urea we produce here, which we call our white gold.
White gold. So I farm. Yeah. I go to the farm until this insecurity situation. Yeah. I mean, for over 2 decades, so I don't buy maize for my house, I don't buy beans, and I farm to eat and to share with my community. It's my own way of giving back to the community. In fact, in 2007, when I ran short of money to pay for my office accommodation in Abuja, I simply went home, took out some grains, sold, and paid my office rent. So I'm familiar with this, but I haven't seen it in the way that I saw it. I also haven't listened to anyone talk to me about the process that you have to go through. We just see it as a finished product.
This is natural gas that we're flaring away.
Yeah, we just waste it.
So you should.
And export it. Like a rural area, exporting the natural gas. It's not adding value.
That you are only producing urea. Just know that what you are doing is turning around the economy of this country. Once this is fed into the system, you are turning around the lives of people. You are turning around.
Well, Nigeria used to import. Right now, we don't import anymore.
We are exporting.
Nigeria is the largest exporter in sub-Saharan Africa.
Wow.
Actually, yes. We're almost next to Egypt. And by the next 2 years, we'll be the largest exporter of urea in the world. Even bigger than China.
It's a good place to take a handshake from you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I want to receive you in a laboratory this is a laboratory that has all equipment in one place at one time. So we are highly honored to receive you, Santa Man. Okay? We have well-trained personnel. We've been trained, we all have degrees, and then we went for further training in assessment of all petroleum products. We start from the crude oil down to all the products that distillate from our crude distillation unit. Now, here is the refinery testing lab. My colleagues that will be on hand to explain some of the instruments and what we use them to test. So you're welcome to tell them here. So I'll be starting with this equipment, as my colleagues will call it, small but mighty. We use it in analyzing our light distillates, that's naphtha and PMS, that's gasoline. We use it to test for the vapor pressure of these two distillates. As we all know that sulfur in any of our distillates, they combine with the oxygen in the air to form sulfur dioxide, which is hazardous to us. So the level has to be reduced. So we have to check for the level in all our distillates, both and even from the crude oil. So we check for the level, and this gives us the result in 5 minutes sharp. We can analyze, and it gives us the result in parts per million, that's milligram per liter. And then when we analyze, it gives us the results. It's easier for us to know how much level of sulfur is in our distillates. So these are our EDSRF, that's energy dispersive X-ray fluorescence. As my boss said, this is the only lab where you see everything that is highly sophisticated in the world, and you're having everything in one place at a time. Kudos to our all these machines gives us results in less than 5 minutes. So these are all auto titrators for different analysis. Then we have our mercury analyzer. It measures the level of mercury in our distillate. Because once you give the machine the sample, it fixes the sample itself, analyzes, and the result comes out here. This is a centrifuge, used basically to get the level of sediment and water that is in our crude oil. So we use that in the pricing, and then to know the level of water, because what milk is for freezing point, the freezing point apparatus. This is used to test for the lubricity of our diesel. Lubricity, as we all know, helps us to know the friction rate of our oil with respect to our engine parts. So we need to learn to know the lubricity level, and this machine is highly sophisticated in the fact that here we run the analysis by rolling a ball, a particular ball that comes with the instrument, on our diesel oil. Then we bring it out later without contact with our fingers, then view it under this camera, which shows that everything we do in the lab cannot be adulterated, or we can't tamper with the results. So when we check this, we check it through the camera here, and it automatically comes on the screen, showing us the wear scar, and then we know the level of lubricity of our diesel oil. All is used to test for the lubricity of our emission vehicle. So that means we have different machine for lubricity of each product differently.
What about freezing
point analysis is the other lab. Freezing point. We need to check for the freezing point of our emission vehicle. That's
when you do your own, they will now talk about free trade. They will come in and yes. So that's why countries like China, India, and Co, they don't allow you to bring anything. I mean, look at it now. US, they are actually trying to do this transition of electric vehicles. When they realize that China now, they are ahead of them, they went and slapped them last 2 months with 100% on any EV.
I want to personally also thank Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for creating this idea of Naira for crude and also Naira for the product. Doing that, it will give a lot of stability for the Naira. You know, where now you remove 40% of the demand of dollars in the market, and that will actually stabilize the market. But that's not it. As you know, there's quite a lot of what you call round tripping, where people now do documentation and the fuel does not come into Nigeria, and this is a fact. So right now, as we have this refinery working, it will show the true consumption of Nigeria. We can track every single loaded trucks, and we will try as much as possible to track the loaded ships. Trucks, we can tell you where they are. Just like now, in some of the products that we do, we can tell you exactly the consumption pattern and co. But that is a discussion for another day. Today's discussion is just to celebrate and to thank God Almighty for bringing us to this stage of now producing gasoline. And I know that a lot of people have not actually believed that we'll be able to deliver, but we've been able to deliver. I hope this refinery will actually change the entire dynamics, not only in Nigeria, but in sub-Saharan Africa.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, of a truth, we can say this great news, this breaking news that is currently making waves on the internet from the country Nigeria all over the globe, it's actually extraordinary and mind-blowing. And yet, it's something that, fingers crossed, we need to also put an eye on, follow up squarely with hope, prayers, and anticipation that, yes, by God's grace, with all hands on deck, with the support of both citizens of the country Nigeria, the government, the leaders, name them in all parastatals, will definitely bring this already existing dream to a reality in total, right? So with that being said, I want to say well done to the good people of Nigeria. Well done to the one and only guru in the person of Aliko Dangote, our treasure in Nigeria. That is my own opinion and my mindset towards him, for putting up Nigeria as a country individually on the spotlight on the globe again, setting it up once again for the world to know that there is still hope for the country Nigeria. And yes, with this, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say Ghana is not left out in terms of owning and mining, manufacturing, name it, their own mineral resources. Like I earlier on said, let's take a close look at what they have going on there, and we'll be right back again to draw more analysis and reactions on it. Let's go, guys.
So, according to an article by Business Insider Africa, the top 10 African countries that exported the most natural resources in the year 2022 are 1. South Africa, 2. Nigeria, 3. Algeria, 4. Angola, 5. Libya, 6. Egypt, 7. Ghana, 8. Congo, 9. Gabon, and 10. Zimbabwe. But of all these countries, only South Africa and Libya benefits a lot from their natural resources. In fact, South Africa has built its economy and tech from its natural resources. But countries like Nigeria and Democratic Republic of Congo have many natural resources, but poverty and political conflicts have stopped the fair distribution of wealth among the citizens of these countries. Ghana is also facing the same issue. It seems almost all of the continent's natural resources are being mined and controlled by multinationals or foreign companies. But now the story is changing in some African countries. This is especially true for the countries under military rule. The military leaders are trying to take full control of their natural resources from the multinationals, and Ghana is also planning the same. But this great idea is coming from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is a flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, NPP. He has pledged to ensure that Ghanaians will own 100% of their mineral resources if he is elected. According to Dr. Bawumia, he sees Ghana's mining rules as making it seem that Ghanaians don't fully own the country's mineral resources. So he is going to change that.
I am going to refocus our paradigm for natural resource management. For the most part, Ghana has not maximized the benefits from our natural resources. Since the days of the Portuguese in the 15th century, gold has been taken out of Ghana and taken out of Ghana and taken out of Ghana. We haven't benefited that much from our natural resources. I am going to change that paradigm. I am going to bring a bigger focus on ownership of our natural resource. It's as if right now we don't own the natural resource. I believe that if we do the exploration, and we are going to empower our universities and the Geological Survey Department to do the exploration. Once we explore and we have 7 gold belts, there's so much gold that we haven't yet even discovered. The new policy is going to be that the ownership of those resources will be 100% owned by Ghana.
In fact, I trust this man on this particular promise because at the time Ghana was struggling to get dollars to import oil and other goods, he was the one that brought the idea of exchanging the country's gold for oil.
We have to look for fundamental solutions to some of our problems. As our foreign exchange reserves have declined, the depreciation of the cedi, as I have noted, has accelerated. A major source of cedi depreciation has been the demand for foreign exchange to finance the import of oil products. In fact, our import of oil products is around $3 billion annually. Persistent cedi depreciation increases the cost of living with higher prices for fuel, transportation, utilities, food, and so on. The challenge that we face is a limited access to foreign exchange as our foreign exchange reserves have depleted And the demand has not fallen, but the demand has been relatively steady for that lower foreign exchange reserve. And so the demand exceeds the supply, and then you have depreciation. So the thinking that we said, okay, how do we get in more foreign exchange reserves for the country to be able to stem this gap between the demand and the supply? One of the things that occurred to us, to me, was why aren't we able to accumulate reserves in terms of gold? We have focused on accumulating reserves over the years in terms of US dollars and other currencies. But gold is a foreign exchange reserve. And the unique feature of gold is that we are endowed with gold. We produce gold in Ghana, which means you don't have to export gold to earn that foreign exchange. You have to export cocoa, you have to export timber and other goods, foods and so on to earn the foreign exchange. With gold, immediately you dig it up. It is foreign exchange. So you're essentially digging up foreign exchange. But to address this fundamental challenge that we all face of the persistent depreciation and its impact on fuel, in utility prices, food, and so on, government has opted to implement a policy of using our gold to buy oil products.
So he knows how important it is for the country to fully own its natural resources. And Ghana's economy is on the rise in the first quarter of this year, 2024. The country's economy grew by an impressive 4.7%, according to Ghanaian Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. The finance minister recently announced this positive development during his mid-year budget review, where he highlighted that this growth shows the resilience of the government's economic policies and the hard work of Ghanaians. Key factors driving this recovery include strategic government interventions, fiscal discipline, and significant investments in infrastructure and small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. These efforts are creating jobs, supporting businesses, and fostering a stable economic environment. Dr. Adam emphasized that the government's commitment to fiscal discipline and support for SMEs are crucial for sustaining this growth. The minister also pointed out that improvements in inflation and exchange rate stability have brought relief to businesses and households. Despite global challenges, Ghana's economy is showing strong signs of resilience and growth.
Okay guys, at this point we have heard directly from the vice president, okay, what he has to say. Let's look at it again. From what he has said, I will say that it didn't take long after this proclamation that the gold refinery in Ghana kickstarted, which I also featured here. If you've not watched it, I'll link the video in the description where I talked about it. And yes, for further clarifications and understanding, as we speak in this 21st century, the country Ghana is currently running, owning and mining, producing and selling their gold as we speak, and making more money, thereby increasing the GDP of Ghana's economy. And that aside, I want to also shed more light on what is currently going on their mineral resources in terms of crude oil, how they are setting up one magnificent, massive refinery that is definitely going to change the narrative and take over the globe in Africa, coming from West Africa and from the motherland Ghana. Let's take a look at that directly from the horse's mouth from one of our representatives in Ghana, and we'll be right back to draw our final conclusions on how countries in West Africa, particularly Nigeria and Ghana, is taking charge of their mineral resources, just like we've rightly cited and stated here. Let's go, guys.
Welcome to Uncover Megabuild. Today, we are taking you a close look at Ghana's ambitious plan to construct a $12 billion oil refinery that has the potential to reshape the country's future. Where it promises economic growth and energy independence, the project has sparkled debate and controversy that we need to explore. In a bold move to transform Ghana into a strategic petroleum hub in West Africa, President Nana Akufo-Addo has launched the construction of a massive $12 billion oil refinery. This ambitious project aims to elevate Ghana's position in the regional energy sector. However, it hasn't been without controversy. Let's break down everything you need to know about this massive project. Project overview. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo recently announced the commencement of a massive $12 billion oil refinery in Jomolo in the western region of Ghana. The refinery is part of a broader strategy to position Ghana as a key player in the petroleum sector in West Africa. Since starting oil production in 2010, Ghana has been pumping approximately 132,000 barrels of crude oil and 325 million standard cubic feet of natural gas daily. At the project launch, President Akufo-Addo emphasized that this refinery will serve as a cornerstone of the nation's development, incorporating not just oil extraction and refinery, but also petrochemical plants and related industries. Project financial and structural details. This refinery is said to be constructed in 3 phases from 2024 to 2036. The initial phase alone will cost around $12 billion and will be financed by a consortium that includes Touchstone Capital Group Holdings, UIC Energy Ghana Limited, China Wuhan Engineering Company, and China Construction Third Engineering Bureau Company. This integrated hub will feature a complex network of onshore and offshore facilities, including refinery, petrochemical plant, and storage tanks. Someone will ask, why does Ghana need this refinery? Currently, West Africa consume about 800,000 barrels of oil daily, but less than 10% of that is produced within the region. This heavy reliance on imported oil has motivated Ghana to pursue the creation of petroleum hub that can meet domestic and regional needs with locally produced petroleum products by 2036. The groundwork for this vision has laid in June 2018 when Ghana signed a memorandum of understanding to develop the refinery. Controversies and challenges. However, not everyone is convinced that this refinery is the right move for Ghana. Bryce Simmons, an official from Accra-based economic research organization, has raised serious concern. He questioned whether the consortium selected to lead this project is the most qualified for such a massive investment and argued that the business model may not be sustainable or realistic. He also suggested that the project could be a strategic to acquire land cheaply in the area. Adding to the controversy, local residents have opposed the plan to allocate 20,000 acres for the petroleum hub, advocating for a reduction to no more than 5,000 acres. Several ambitious oil and gas projects are underway across Africa, aiming to maximize natural resources, reduce import dependency, and strengthening the continent's position in global energy markets. 3 notable projects include the West African Crude Oil Pipeline, EACOP, a 3.5 billion project connecting Uganda's oil field in Hoima to Tanzania's Tanga port, creating the world's longest heated pipeline. It promises economic growth and creates jobs, but faces environmental and social concerns. 2. Greater Torture Ahimen LNG project, a 4.5 billion joint venture between Senegal and Mauritania, targeting 15 trillion cubic feet of offshore gas reserves. It aimed to make both countries key players in LNG markets, with an initial output of 2.5 million tons per year. 3. The Angola's New Gas Consortium Project, a $2.5 billion initiative involving major international oil companies to develop Angola's gas sector, ensuring a stable supply, reducing gas flaring, and supporting economic diversification. This project, alongside Ghana's refinery, showcases Africans' push for energy independence and economic growth despite environmental, social, and political challenges. In conclusion and the final thought, Ghana's 12.5 billion oil refinery is undoubtedly one of the most significant projects in West Africa. It has the potential to revolutionize the country's petroleum industry and reduce its dependence on imports. However, the concerns raised by economic experts and local communities highlight the need for transparency, strategic planning, and realistic business model to ensure its success. Will this project turn out to be the game changer for Ghana?
Exciting news. Ghana has made significant oil discoveries that could change everything in the country, poised to alleviate energy poverty and bring much-needed socio-economic development to the continent. Recent exploration activities have led to a series of major oil and gas discoveries in Ghana. The Ghana petroleum sector has experienced significant growth, particularly since the discovery of oil in commercial quantities in the Jubilee fields in 2007. Average crude oil production capacity has been declining slightly over time, with an average of 176,000 barrels per day. The recent discoveries appear to indicate oil and gas resources stretch across the country's shoreline from Cape 3 Point in the west to Keta in the east. The government of Ghana, through Ghana National Petroleum Commission, seeks to maximize the country's prospects in the oil and gas sector and extend the country's continental shelf to increase the sector's scope. So, stick to this video to the end as we look at the discovery and the initiative that led to it. That could be Ghana's saving grace countries in this economic crisis, the benefit it holds, and all the information on this revolutionary directive. Italian energy major Eni made a significant oil discovery in the urban well offshore Ghana, which could be fast-tracked into production due to its close proximity to the existing Sankofa oil hub. Oil exploration in Ghana began in the 9th century. The first onshore oil was discovered and drilled in 1896. Crude oil was discovered in the western region in 2007, which is the most significant discovery amongst all discoveries because it put Ghana on the forefront of exporting oil in large quantities. Since then, more and more discoveries have been made with regards to oil and gas, and now another major discovery has also been made. The lead operator of the offshore Cape 3 Point, Eni, announced the discovery in Ghana with the potential to produce 700 million barrels of oil equivalent. Ghana holds 660 million barrels of proven oil reserves as of 2016, ranked 43rd in the world, and accounting for a minimal percentage of the world's total oil reserves of 1,650,585,140,000 barrels. Some of the major oil and gas activities are conducted by international oil companies such as Tulu Ghana, Vitol, Cosmos Energy, Eni, and Eka Energy. Upstream activities in the Ghanaian petroleum sector includes the procurement and refining of crude oil by the nation's only petroleum refinery, Tema Oil Refinery. Downstream activities include the marketing and distribution of petroleum products by oil marketing companies and the pre-mixing of petroleum products for other industrial uses. The Ghana National Petroleum Council has the mandate to explore for oil within the country's territory. The prices of petroleum products are regulated by an independent board. The nation consumes significant volumes of petroleum products, which are mainly imported.
Now, ladies and gentlemen of a truth, I want to say this here. If you've known me for the longest time, I do not mix words when I see things going the right way and how it makes me feel very happy, excited, and elated that Ghana has never and will never stop trying in West Africa to always put West Africa on the spotlight in the map of Africa. Relentlessly, they have steadily on the grind, being on this journey of always constantly trying to own their resources, produce their resources, mine it, manufacture it, grow it, cultivate it, name it, for themselves, and definitely trying to stand out to beat world records. For the longest time, this is what Ghana has always been up to. And I can say, yes, of a truth, for these countries, it might definitely or will definitely not be 100%. But from what we have going on, if all hands are on deck and efforts, support, encouragement, and prayers, finance are put in place and put into these projects, and definitely when it comes to a reality, Ghana and Nigeria and some other countries in West Africa will definitely stand out to represent West Africa as countries in Africa and Africa to the world. And yes, with this, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this is it for Nigeria and this is it for Ghana. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions at this point? Haven't seen and heard, watched for yourself, informed, educated, enlightened, and inspired. Leave them all in the comment section. Your thoughts, your opinion, your objective, constructively and respectfully, and let this conversation continue from there. I will also say well done to the good people of Ghana, well done to Nigeria, well done to West Africa and Africa to the world. And with this, I will say we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much if you've watched up till now. God bless you real good. Continue representing yourself as citizens of West Africa. And yes, if this is your first time hearing my voice for the very first time, hi, this is Chivik Inspirations, aka Victoria Chinyere. And here in Chivik Inspirations, we say just the way it is, not to demean, not to spite, demote, demarket any individual, any citizen in West Africa, but to promote, expose, analyze, react on issues, infrastructures, name it, that we have going on in West Africa, so that at the end of the day, the world will know that yes, West Africa, particularly Ghana and Nigeria, got a lot going on for themselves that the world does not even know about. And yes, which will definitely put West Africa and Africa on the spotlight. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching up to this time. And if you're yet to like this video, hit on the like button, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. Remember to always keep it real, safe, and happy out there till I see you in my next one. But for now, bye guys.